I bet you all thought I was going to start this monthly by waxing poetic on what I'm thankful for. How I'm thankful for pumpkin pie, Snoopy parade balloons, that sick Alakazam illustration card I opened this morning, my mom. Well, I'm not feeling very thankful today. I'm feeling like I want to know what were the co-op games that came out last month, what co-op games are coming out next month, and any co-op news in between. And if by the end I am satisfied, which I'm sure I will be, then I'll be thankful again. So let's get on with the co-op monthly for November.
Even as we're closing out the year, November still have plenty of co-op games to keep us busy, so let's see how they did. River City Saga 3 Kingdoms Next is that River City spin-off featuring 4-player co-op both online and locally. How did it do? Not too well, as it landed with a 71 on OpenCritic. Bit of a bummer, River City Girls 2 ended up with a 78 for reference, so you have to wonder what went wrong here. Overall, it seems like the combat and setting are fine enough, but some performance issues and some lackluster puzzle design bring down the experience. The game is available on PC and Switch, but unless you're a diehard fan of the series, I suggest you wait till next month if you're looking for a co-op beat 'em up. More on that in a bit. Unrailed 2 Back on Track is a co-op railroad construction game with roguelike elements. Because it launched onto early access, we don't have an OpenCritic average to share, but it does have a very positive user rating on Steam with around 400 reviews. The game features 4-player co-op both online and locally, and it seems like it works really well across either mode. This is one we both want to circle back to when it comes to 1.0, but if you dove into early access, hit us up in the comments with your impressions of the title. Techtonica is a first-person factory automation game featuring 4-player online co-op. It launched its big 1.0 update earlier this month on top of its Xbox and Game Pass release. We could only find one review on OpenCritic, so again, let's see what Steam players have to say. Recent reviews have it at a mixed user rating with close to 300 reviews, but the 2,000 total reviews paint a more positive picture. If you're looking for a co-op automation game, you're probably better off playing Satisfactory, but that's not on consoles, let alone Game Pass, so Techtonica does have the edge there. We've mentioned this a couple times, but Sea of Stars finally got its long-awaited 3-player local co-op mode. I won't belabor this one since you probably already know how critically acclaimed this Chrono Trigger-inspired RPG is. If you're looking for a long couch co-op RPG, this is a great choice. The fact that it's available on all platforms and Game Pass makes it the easiest recommendation of the episode. You guys remember TemTem, the game that billed itself as the co-op Pokemon game of our dreams? Well, TemTem is back, but instead of taking on the creature collecting game, it's here with its own take on the emerging survivor genre with TemTem Swarm. The game features 3-player online co-op and it's exclusive to Steam for now as it launched onto early access. At face value, it looks cool and Steam players seem to agree as it's garnered a very positive user rating with close to 700 reviews. If you're a fan of Vampire Survivors, this probably isn't as good, but maybe still worth a try. A couple months ago, we were so sure that LEGO Horizon Adventures would be a total banger. In the end, it didn't end up hitting with us, and from the looks of it, doesn't seem like it landed with many other people either. The game ended up with a 71 on OpenCritic, a far cry from the main series, let alone recent LEGO games like the Skywalker Saga. If you're interested in hearing more, make sure you check out our review. And if you're really excited for it or thought it could be good for your kids or siblings, I'd still look into it. Plenty of people in our comment section vouch for the title, so don't let the score discourage you. We just suggest you do some research on it before making your purchase. Another early access title for you, Towers of Aghasba, is a sandbox survival title featuring 4-player online co-op out now on Steam and PS5. Currently, the game has a mixed user rating on Steam with around 1,000 reviews. A quick look at those user reviews gave me the impression that co-op doesn't work particularly well, so if you were looking to dive into this one, I suggest you take a look at those reviews and any other coverage online. Asterogues is a local 2-player bullet hell shoot 'em up that just launched its 1.0 update exclusive to Steam. I really dig this art style and I love the quirky premise that sees you play as a pair of asteroids taking revenge on the solar system. It just came out, so there's not too many reviews on Steam, but the few reviews do earn it a very positive rating, so check it out if it piques your interest. And here's your final reminder that Ravenswatch is officially out on consoles. This is one of our favorite games of the year, so be sure to check out our review if you're curious about it. And if you want to see it in action, we've done 2 live streams as we continue to play it to this day. We'll beat that final boss soon. We're so close, I can just feel it. It's hard to believe, but here we are taking a look at December and what sort of co-op games we can expect. Not too many from the looks of it, but there are two standouts at least, so let's take a look. Starting with Warhammer 40k Darktide, which is finally coming to PlayStation on December 3rd. By now, Darktide has gotten dozens of smaller patches, along with some bigger updates like its latest unlocked and loaded overhaul. Which is to say, there's no better time to dive back into this one if you bounce from the lackluster launch like we did. And as I'm saying that, I'm thinking that we should take our own advice and dive back into this ourselves like we always talk about. The most anticipated release of next month is easily Path of Exiles 2, which launches onto early access on Steam on December 6th. This is an action RPG which should look familiar if you've played something like Diablo 4. The first game has a huge following and has gotten a ton of support over the years, so there's a lot of hype around the 6-player online co-op title too. The game will be free to play, but you do have to buy the supporter pack on Steam to dive into early access, which will set you back $30 US. And the last major co-op release of the year, and the game I was hinting at earlier, is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind, which hits all platforms on December 10th. This is a 5-player co-op beat-em-up that supports online and local modes. It's basically the Shredder's Revenge revival the Power Rangers franchise has been in desperate need of for years now. But that is selling it a bit short, as the game does go beyond that formula with some unique twists in gameplay, like teaming up to pilot the big Megazord in a Punch-Out style minigame. If you enjoyed Shredder's Revenge and are a fan of the original Power Rangers show, yeah, this is a no-brainer for you.
Now that we're halfway through the monthly, I can admit I'm feeling a little bit more thankful. Thankful in particular for our patrons. Look, you could support our Patreon for the monthly newsletter, the ability to vote on video topics, or even our Patreon exclusive series Play and Banter. But I'd be thankful if you supported us just for the fact that we're a 2-man team with full-time jobs doing our darndest to bring you all the co-op news and reviews you need. Now that would make me thankful. Gabe kindly took care of the releases this go around, which leaves me with the news block, so let's talk about some updates to your favorite co-op games first. River City Girls 2 Double Dragons DLC was launched on November 12th this past month. This is a well-received beat-em-up with 4-player local and online co-op that we actually played back at launch. The combat was a little bit too slow for our taste, but this isn't our favorite genre per se, so if it is yours, we'd say go for it, and now you have even more characters to play as. The Binding of Isaac is an all-time classic. You can basically thank the resurgence of the roguelike genre on this game. For its 10th anniversary, it's received an update that adds 4-player online co-op. Love to see it and happy for all of the Binding of Isaac fans. Enshrouded has received its biggest update since entering early access at the beginning of the year. This one is called the Souls of the Frozen Frontier, which, as you can imagine, adds on a new snow-capped biome to its expansive open world. That means new enemies and gear too, so probably a good time to check back in if you're lapsed like we are. On top of that, they've revamped their NPC system, making your settlements and towns much more lively with town folks, daily routines for NPCs, and multiple characters for each vendor type, so you can have a smithy and whatnot in every town you build. There's a lot more to it than what I'm mentioning here, so I'll let you read the rest of the patch notes for yourself. Generation Zero is looking to end its 6 years of update on the title with the final showdown. We actually played Generation Zero when we started the channel 5 years ago, and honestly, it was a pretty terrible experience. But we've been told by many in our comment section that it has slowly but surely made a solid comeback with both free and paid updates throughout the years. And it's always nice to see a small team get to wrap a bow on a project in a positive state. This final update seems to include a new area where the story will come to a close, and you'll face off against the ultimate robot AI threat. Will this be enough to bring us back to the post-apocalyptic Swedish world? It's doubtful. We gotta play new games over the old games, but we're always open to second chances. Forever Skies is a first-person survival title that sees you manning and upgrading an airship while having to dock and explore the dangerous surface of the planet below when resources call for it. It's been in early access for the past year, but is getting a huge update in World Evolved on December 9th that adds the ability to play the game in co-op. I'm not sure how many players or if it's going to be online only. They haven't really specified that. Maybe they have, I just couldn't find it. So keep posted to their Steam page if you want to hear more, and expect the title to finish up its early access period at the start of 2025. And therefore begin its port process over to the consoles. Last update I wanted to mention was the Skelmar Invasion DLC dropping on December 10th for War Tales. The game has received a ton of DLC over its post-release roadmap, some hitting better than others, but this one looks to be really cool if the cinematic teaser is anything to go by. Unfortunately, this is all the footage I have, so we'll leave it at that for now and let the eventual actual footage speak for itself. Do you ever just sit on the couch with your boy and think, man, I wish we could both be slime heroes together? Well, good news, friends. The upcoming Slime Heroes, an action RPG where you play as slime heroes, is set to release in the first quarter of 2025. The game can be played entirely in co-op, which means that you and your boy can finally be slime heroes. I talked about the reveal of Dune Crawl just a couple of months ago, but we're back at it again with the first gameplay overview trailer that gives us a better idea on what we're getting with the game. And personally, I like what we're getting here. This is an open world isometric co-op title that combines elements of old school Zelda titles, Sea of Thieves, Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. It's a lot of good wrapped in a unique coat of paint, and I'm loving it. Good news for everyone, it's releasing sometime next year with a demo available in February of next year. Hard to say we're gonna have the time for that demo given how stacked February is looking, but man, do I want to give this one a closer look, and you should too by checking out the full trailer. Ghost Ship Games had a big November as they dished out a teaser trailer for their new spin on the Deep Rock series they developed, but also showed off a teaser for Dark Swarm and announced Guntouchables, two titles they're helping publish. We'll start with Rogue Core though, a roguelike twist on the beloved Deep Rock series. It's very early into development and it sounds like it's got a long road of early access ahead of it, but the team has expressed excitement at the prospect of transforming the series into a whole new genre, and it sounds like their ambitions are worth getting hyped over. Check out more info over on their Steam page. Next up is Dark Swarm, a top-down twin-stick shooter built from the ground up for 4-player online and local co-op. You've got different operatives to play as, semi-destructible environments, and tons of aliens to shoot at. Looks like a ton of fun and potential here, so consider wishlisting to keep up with development as there is currently no planned release date. And the third title I mentioned was Guntouchables, a fresh announcement that is a bit odd looking to say the least. This one sees you playing as Cheeto-shaped survivors in a post-apocalyptic world. This is a roguelite where not only do the players slowly power up during a run, but so too do the enemies. Between rounds, players will actually vote on ways the enemies will continue to mutate, which is a cool spin on the genre I haven't seen before. Like the last few titles, we have no release date, so be sure to keep up with the game over on their Steam page. Have we gone too far with Overcooked likes? I ask myself that same question every day when I look in the mirror, but the answer to that question needs to be pushed back by a few weeks thanks to the announcement of Ritual Party, a 4-player co-op party game where you try to summon Cthulhu before getting caught by the cops. You're doing all sorts of wacky things. It really is the premise of this game. It's going to release in 2025. Wishlist it on Steam. And you know what? I hope y'all had a happy Thanksgiving a couple days ago. We're at the end of this monthly and I am feeling more thankful, so we'll see you next time.
As always, thanks for watching guys and continuing to support our new series this year. As we wrap up the year, look forward to our top 10 co-op games of 2024 video, as well as our annual 2024 in gaming live stream, where Andrew and I sit down to talk about all the games we played, both co-op and single player titles. We'll also do our year-end Fantasy Critics stream, where we crown this year's champion and do our draft for next year. You might not know what any of that means, but all you really need to know is subscribe if you haven't already, because we have some really fun content coming up before the end of the year. Thank you to our Patreon producers, and we'll catch you next time on another episode of The Co-op Bros.